Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Life of a Business Manager podcast. This is the podcast where we break down the real world skills every business manager needs to succeed. I'm your host, Sina Chan, and in today's episode, we're talking about the first 90 days as a business manager. Now, I wanted to let everyone know that you can actually use this episode as a guideline if you are getting a new job or you just became a new business manager or you moved into a new department or you've stepped into a higher level position within your organization. You can use this as a quick guideline. It's a short episode. We're going to break down the first 90 days. Specifically, we're going to focus on what you should fix, what you should ignore, and what you absolutely need to learn. Because the first 90 days are your probation period, and it's not about proving yourself. It's actually about just setting yourself up for long term success. So let's get into the episode. Okay, everyone, let's dive into segment one, which is the first 90-day mindset as a business manager. So let me just say this clearly, your job in the first 90 days is not to fix everything. I know a lot of new managers that feel that pressure to move fast, make changes, and prove that they were the right fit for the organization. But honestly, when you move too fast without really understanding the system, you usually end up creating more problems for yourself than actually solving them. So early on, as a business manager, your focus should be on learning how the operation actually works, getting to know the people, understanding the pressures they're under, and figuring out why things are the way they are. In those few months, the real goal isn't about transformation. It's about just having clarity within yourself about the role. Okay, let's go to segment two. Now that we know about the role, now we need to know what to fix first. So, there are things worth fixing early on, but the key is to focus on changes that are actually strategic and actually move the project forward. So, here are a couple of tips that I would recommend looking into when you've taken on a new role as a business manager. So, first up is communication. If communication is unclear, inconsistent, or just plain confusing, that's usually your cue to fix those first. Look for things like unclear roles, no real ownership over decisions, meetings that don't have a clear purpose, or constant confusion around approvals and escalation. When you tighten up the communication, you often stabilize the entire operation as a business manager and you don't have to blow everything up. The second area is visibility and review into the numbers. So, what I really mean by that is you need to know your financials. You really can't manage what you can't see. Early on, that means getting a basic understanding of your budget versus your actuals, your volume, your workload, your staffing patterns, and then a few performance metrics. You don't need a perfect dashboard or a fancy report. You just need to have some visibility, have access to your financials in order to make strategic, informed decisions. The third area is decision bottlenecks. So, when you take on a role as a new business manager for the first 90 days, it's good to notice where things are slowing down or where projects get stuck. The reason why is because if every decision has to run through one person or through a broken or unclear process, that's usually a high impact fix that you need to prioritize first as a business manager. These are things worth fixing early because you're here to make an impact, to make strong, strategic decisions that will help the organization. Okay, now that you know what to fix, in segment three, we're going to talk about what to ignore for now. This is where a lot of high performers struggle. When you step into a new role, it's easy to zero in on cosmetic issues. And these are things that look messy but technically still work. For example, old spreadsheets, clunky templates, or workflows that feel inefficient but familiar can be very tempting to fix right away. But it's not actually breaking the operation. So it technically can wait. The same goes for cultural quirks. Every team has its own habits, inside jokes, and unwritten rules. And before you try to change any of them, it's important to be an observer first. Most of these behaviors exist for a reason, even if that reason isn't obvious to you. Your role isn't to rebuild everything on your own. Your role is to improve outcomes And sometimes that means knowing what not to touch right away. So when you step into a new role, you feel the need to be able to fix everything, but you really can't fix everything. So these are just tips to kind of get by for the first 90 days. Okay, everyone, now that we talked about what to ignore, in segment 4, we're going to talk about what you should be learning instead as a business manager during the first 90 days. Let's get into the real work that happens as a business manager. This isn't about checking boxes or learning every single policy in the handbook. It's actually about understanding how things get done. First up is to talk about power and influence. You really need to figure out who really influences decisions around the organization you're in. And it's not just about titles. You want to know who moves projects ahead, who actually listens, and who are the ones making these decisions and getting projects done. Next up are pressure points. So, pressure points are where's the stress coming from? When you're in a meeting and you notice people are stressed and you're a new business manager and you can feel the tension, where's that stress coming from? Is it volume related? Is it staffing related? Is it budgets, compliance, or is it just senior leadership's expectations? So once you understand the pressure, you start to understand why people are behaving the way they do around you. Next up are incentives. So what actually gets rewarded here in the organization that you're working for? What gets punished? This will tell you exactly certain decisions of why they happen or don't happen. And it helps you see the bigger picture of things when you're in these meetings, when you're trying to get things done during the first 90 days. And finally, let's talk about trust and relationship. So this is so important because you need to know where's the trust strong, where are there tensions or a bit of history when you're in these meetings for the first 90 days, because no matter what your role is, leadership always starts with relationships. If you know where the trust lives and where it doesn't, you can navigate much more effectively within the organization during these 90 days in your new role as a business manager. Okay, we are in the last segment 5, which is a simple 30, 60, 90-day framework. We're just going to break down exactly the first 90 days. So let's just start with the first 30 days. So the priority in the first 30 days is to be an observer. So this means to listen more than you talk, ask questions, understand workflows, and build relationships. This is so important because you're so new into the role, the organization, you don't really know anyone yet. So you're a sponge absorbing all the information that's coming to you, but also just listen to everyone that's, talking to you, ask questions if you are curious about something, make sure you understand the workflows of what you're getting yourself into as a business manager in this organization. In days 31 through 60, now it's time to analyze. This means to identify patterns, understand the root causes, see where efforts is being wasted. This is so important because sometimes when you go into a new position, in general, you could see where there are some employees that maybe it is wasted or certain process improvements that are wasted. There's so many opportunities out there when you're working as a business manager and you're kind of analyzing everything. This is super important. And also, you want to identify leverage points. So make sure that you take notes, you analyze everything that's going on, and see if there's any opportunities there. And finally, by days 61 through 90, the focus shifts to alignment. So this means making small, intentional, strategic changes. Make sure you communicate clearly and also build credibility with everyone around you. And this can show operational stability as a business manager. And that's what you want to show in your role as a business manager within this organization. You're here to improve outcomes. Okay, everyone, let's wrap up this episode. If you're in the first 90 days of a new role or as a business manager, just remember this. You don't need to prove your value by changing everything within the organization. You just need to prove your value by understanding the system. So fix what you can control and what you can stabilize, ignore what doesn't matter to you, and learn as much as you can in the role. That's how you could build a long-term success in your new role or as a business manager. Again, thanks for tuning into Life of a Business Manager podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a family member or friends who might need some assistance. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you have any questions about the role, suggestions for future topics, or stories of your own, I'd love to hear from you. You can find my email in the show notes below. As always, thanks for listening and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, bye everyone.